Hello there and welcome back to Bloodborne. Last time we completed the Central Thumerian Labyrinth, and we now have an absurd amount of blood echoes, which is a good thing because we have a number of expensive items that we want to purchase at the shop here. The Sword Hunter badge that we got from the Cleric Beast way back lets us purchase this Hunter Chief emblem, which will allow us to get further into the Cathedral ward past the sealed gate that barred our progress earlier. More importantly, the Radiant Sword Hunter badge we obtained from the Church Workshop lets us purchase a few new weapons, mainly the Ludwig's Holy Blade. The Healing Church Workshop began with Ludwig and departed from old Gammon's techniques to provide hunters with the means to hunt more terrifying beasts, and perhaps things still worse. We can also purchase the Ludwig's Rifle, which is something of an upgrade, or perhaps would be more accurately referred to as a side grade to the Hunter Blunderbuss. We'll be trying it out for a bit. Additionally, completing the Central Thumerian Labyrinth has allowed us to purchase the Tomb Prospector set. The Healing Church traces its roots to Bergenworth, and is therefore aware of the ruins, the Chalice Dungeon's true importance. Again and again we see that the Healing Church, the oft-mentioned Bergenworth, and the Chalice Dungeons all have some sort of a connection, but it's not entirely clear what that is at the moment. Here we're going to use a few cold bloods that have been stored in our inventory to get some more blood echoes to purchase most of the rest of the Tomb Prospector set. It's always a good idea to keep your cold bloods on hand for when you need them, rather than use them as soon as you get them for, say, some levels. That way you can purchase new items as soon as possible. Looking pretty badass. You'll notice that the untransformed Ludwig's is the same silver sword as the Kirkhammer, but the transformed version is a bit different, being a great sword rather than a great hammer. Both are weapons used by the clerics of the Healing Church. For whatever reason, the Healing Church anticipated much larger beasts than the Hunter Workshop did. Of course, Ludwig's Holy Blade would be useless if we didn't upgrade it. And just these few levels have increased its attribute bonuses considerably, giving it a C in strength and a D in skill. As this weapon scales excellently with both stats, increasing either gives it a significant damage boost, especially when you include high quality blood gems. Even at +3, with the addition of the 2 blood gems, it has a little over 200 attack rating between its base damage and the scaling bonus. This is a weapon that hits very hard. Now, an alternative option would be to slot in both of those cursed fire gems that we had obtained in the labyrinth. Doing this would funnel all of its damage into fire, which would increase with its arcane attribute bonus, but since we don't have very high arcane, that wouldn't be terribly worthwhile. Lastly, we have a few new items available at the Insight shop here. The Shaman Bone Blade is of a special interest. We'll be seeing why later on. Defeating the Keeper of the Old Lords unlocks the ability to purchase her armor set from the shop here. The Keepers who mined the slumbering Great Ones gained eternal life, preserved in ashen form in a ceremony of flame that cremated body and soul. It's a pretty damn cool armor set, but it would eat up pretty much all of our insight, and we don't want to be dumb like a beast, now do we?
Welcome home, good hunter. I must have drifted off. What is it you desire? Over time, countless hunters have visited this dream. The graves here stand in their memory. It all seems so long ago now. Farewell, good hunter. May you find your worth in the waking world.
We don't have enough blood echoes to get any more levels, but it would be rude not to at least talk to the doll while we're here in the dream. So, let's go explore the Cathedral ward a bit more. If ever you're low on Quicksilver bullets, rather than purchase them from the shop, you can just make 5 blood bullets, and then quickly regain the health by performing a visceral attack on the enemy, or just with regular melee attacks. This lets you save some extra blood echoes for other things. So, big enemy, let's test out the Ludwigs. Yeah, you can see why it was so expensive. It's much slower than most of the other weapons, the only thing slower being the Kirkhammer. But it hits incredibly hard, especially with its charged attacks. And here we enter the Cathedral ward proper. 2 church giants doesn't seem like it would be a very pleasant encounter. Let's look for another way around. Here we encounter another variant of the church servant who can be pretty dangerous if you get caught up in his flame attack. If you don't dodge through it properly, it can kill you very quickly, but thankfully he's not too difficult to take down. It's worth noting, now that we've seen this variant of the church servant, that the designs are very similar to that of Mozgus from the manga Berserk, a series that is hugely influential in terms of tone and overall aesthetics on both Bloodborne and From Software's Dark Souls series. Not to mention Demon Souls, which is pretty much Berserk the game. It's worth checking out, although caution is advised as it contains some unpleasant subject matter, to say the least. Oh, it seems we found a few more townsfolk.
You're not from around here, are you? What, an outsider who's come to join the hunt? What a pathetic idea. You what? What, you think I'm a beast? Well, maybe I think you're a beast. And step away from my castle!
Well, this guy is certainly rude.
Oh, enough of you. What, you think this is funny? Well, I certainly don't, so be gone with you. I'll have nothing to do with your beast hunts. Oh, enough with you already. Come on, just go, will you?
Well, goodbye then. Maybe your neighbor will be more receptive.
Oh my, what a queer scent. But I'd take it over the stench of blood and beasts any day. What is it then? I'm off during hunts, and besides, this is no place for ladies. Wouldn't want to drag you down too. Oh, thank goodness. You're a hunter, aren't you, dear? Might you know of a safe place? The night is long and a very little of the incense left. Please, there must be some nice place to run off to. Oh, thank you, dear. Perhaps I'll see you there. Oh, thank you, dear. Perhaps I'll see you there.
Let's see if that rather rude fellow has changed his mind.
What's this two-bit nonsense you're peddling? I heard you told that wench about some shelter. Well, she's a damn fool to trust an outsider. Why? Well, her sort's probably just fixing to feed some of your coin. Alright, what crafty lies does the outsider have today? You think I'm an easy mark? Yeah? Well, give me your best shot.
Let's send him to Yosefka's. He seems a bit effed in the head.
Yeah, sorry, too sharp for that bollocks. I know a superstition when I hear one. Outsiders. Even their lies are predictable.
Well, okay, why'd you ask then?
What? Still preying on folks with your book of lies? Yeah, fine. Come on, show me what you got. Tell me about your little safe place.
Yosefka's is good.
Yeah, sorry, too sharp for that bollocks. I know a superstition when I hear one. Outsiders. Even their lies are predictable.
Okay, well, fuck him then. Let's just continue on. Similar to Central Yharnam, ambushes are common in alleys here, so you need to keep your eyes peeled.
Oh, with the deepest gratitude for the church and all they do for us. The deepest, widest gratitude.
Case in point. If you kept your ears peeled, you could actually hear him slowly approaching. Here you start to see the true power of the Holy Blade. Not just the high damage it inflicts with single hits that allows you to one-shot some of the weaker enemies, but the fact that you can stun even larger enemies with a single hit, allowing you to stun-lock them as well as long as you have enough stamina. And here we obtain the uniform of a church servant. Most healing church hunters are elementary doctors who understand the importance of early prevention of the scourge, achieved by disposing of victims, and even potential victims, before signs can manifest. Yeah, the healing church isn't seeming too nice right about now.
Oh, with the deepest gratitude for the church and all they do for us. The deepest, widest gratitude. Yes. Yes.
The deepest, widest gratitude indeed.
Praise you. Praise the old damn church. And best of luck hunting. Best luck of all.
Donate to your local healing church chapter today
Praise you.
and become a favorite member. This rifleman here is best taken out at a distance, if at all possible, as he complicates things if you leave him alive while attempting to take on the melee attackers. Getting sniped out of nowhere while trying to kill these guys is not a pleasant experience. Oh, well, hi there. nice day, isn't it? Good weather for keeping your tentacles moist. You just keep doing what you're doing up there and I'll head on my way. A watchman of Bergenworth guards the gate with a password, the sacred adage of the Grand Cathedral. Again, a cryptic hint left by persons unknown, by which of course I mean the developers. Heights are pretty good for ambushes. Like so. Makes an otherwise troublesome dog a real piece of cake to deal with. Here we have our first shortcut in the level, although we're seeing it for the first time from the side that we actually open it from. We're also being interrupted rather rudely by a few church servants, including a new variant. This black-garbed, hat-wearing one wields a pistol, and he can be a bit annoying to draw out as he prefers to stay at a distance. If you stay far enough away out of his line of sight, he'll come forward, letting you draw him out. But here we see is the graveyard that we avoided due to the two church giants lurking within. Now we could deal with them easily enough thanks to the power of the Holy Blade, but let's test out these Shaman Bone Blades. First, we want to get both of the church giants relatively close to each other, as the effect of the Bone Blade doesn't last for terribly long. I would say about 10 or 15 seconds. Once you've gotten them close together, just get ready and plink one with the blade, and watch the magic unfold. The Shaman Bone Blade makes whatever enemy is hit with it aggro to the other enemies, as opposed to you, allowing it to damage them and them to damage it. It can make some otherwise tricky encounters much, much easier. There's lots of madman's knowledge in this graveyard. A good place to stop by if you're short on insight. Before we progress, there's a side path here. We've actually seen this bit before. This is where Mrs. Tentacleface was. This is the Brain Sucker. As its name would suggest, it attempts to grab you and suck out your brains, so staying at a distance is ideal. It is heavily resistant to physical damage, but is extremely weak to fire, making the Hunter Torch a valuable asset here. It's also weak to pierce type damage, so if you have a weapon with a piercing attack, such as the R2 of both forms of the Holy Blade, you can use that as well, and it will also make quick work of them.
The password.
Well, okay then. This must be the gate that one note referred to. It said that the password was the adage of the Grand Cathedral, so we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for any large cathedrals in the area. Although I'm not sure if we'll manage to find one in the Cathedral ward. That just doesn't seem very likely. Here you can see that both the graveyard and the side path that skirts around it ultimately end up leading to the same place, giving you multiple ways with which you can complete the area, assuming you don't want to explore it to its fullest. Before we head up those stairs there, let's check to the side here. A church servant appeared from over this way, so there's gotta be something over here. If you have an especially good memory, you may recognize this gate. This is the gate that the wooden shield was at. This gives us an even better shortcut, as the lantern is only a short distance away, and it allows us to skip both the side street and the graveyard entirely. Much like the Kirkhammer, a number of the attacks on the Holy Blade have hyper armor, letting you attack right through enemy swings and take them out in short order. Oh hey, is that Eileen? Oh hey, how have you been?
Oh, hello there. Perfect timing. I must warn you not to go near the tomb below Erden Chapel in the Cathedral ward. Henrik, an old hunter, has gone mad, and he's my mark. Don't go near the tomb below Erden Chapel in the Cathedral ward. I have business there first.
Well, thanks for the new gesture, but do you not understand how reverse psychology works? If you tell someone not to go somewhere, they're only going to want to go there even more, so let's get this cleared out of the way first before we explore further into the Cathedral ward. And looking around this room again, Gascoigne's daughter never made it here, did she? Maybe we should go check on that. But first, head on down to the Odin tomb and see what this Henrik is about. Don't see anyone around here. Oh, there he is. Like most hunters, Henrik has a lot of HP, a lot of defense, and he also hits extremely hard. But unlike most hunter fights, you have a bit of an advantage here, as this is a 2-on-1 with you on the side of the 2. Eileen serves as both a good source of damage and a distraction, keeping Henrik away from you, allowing you to heal up when necessary. You do have to be a bit careful, as you can harm Eileen with your attacks, but she's a tough old bird, so she can take a number of hits before she's even close to dying. For killing Henrik, we acquire the Air Rune, which we'll check out after apologizing to Eileen.
That wasn't necessary of you, but you have my thanks. We made it with our lives. You're not bad at all. You must have killed Gascoigne as well, then. He was falling apart, I'm sure it had to be done. But try to keep your hands clean. A hunter should hunt beasts. Leave the hunting of hunters to me. Try to keep your hands clean. Leave the hunting of hunters to me.
See, it's always better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. We even got an additional reward in the form of found away the objective best gesture in the game. That nice, sassy, sarcastic clap. It's very fun to use against other players, especially in PvP. So yeah, let's go check on Gascoigne's daughter. Make sure she's alright and maybe actually guide her on her way to the Odin Chapel. It was kind of a silly move just leaving her to her own devices, in retrospect. And here you can see the Yharnam huntsman ordering the bridge troll to release the boulder when you get close enough. A nice little detail, even if it doesn't make much sense in this case, since you're approaching from behind. But let's go through the sewers below, and meet up with our old friend the boar, for another nice round of Yharnam's favorite pastime. Fisting pigs will never not be the greatest delight in this game. Oh, hold on, there's a second drop. That wasn't the case before. We certainly didn't get a red messenger ribbon last time we killed him. The thick, pungent red was drawn from the organs of some unfortunate victim. I guess some poor bastard must have come along and served as the boar's lunch, since we passed through here. R.I.P. whoever they were, I suppose. There's a certain joy to be had of coming back to an earlier area, once you're stronger and just absolutely curb-stomping the enemies. But let's not get too carried away. Our primary purpose for coming here, after all, is to check on Gascoigne's daughter. The lights are off. And she doesn't seem to be here, but she's not at the chapel either. Wait a minute. Drawn from the organs of some unfortunate victim. Oh. Yeah, maybe it wasn't the best idea to leave her alone to make her way to the chapel, but everyone makes mistakes after all, so let's just give ourselves a quick facepalm and head back to the Cathedral ward. It seems the woman we talked to has made it here.
Oh, hello, dear. You weren't lying. This is a safe place. Thank you. I am in your debt. I'd like to tender my thanks, but I can't imagine what to offer. All I can give is my blood. But would you even take a whore's blood?
Sure?
Oh, good. Come close, dear. Don't worry, I've done this before. Oh, hello. Sorry, dear, you're much too eager. I've only so much blood, okay?
Recreational blood drinking is a common pastime in Yharnam, especially in the case of persons like Ariana whose blood has special properties. You can only carry one, but you can get a refill from her anytime you run out. This can be a useful item in tricky situations like boss fights, to give you a bit of an extra edge to overcome adversity. So let's pop that on our quick bar. Let's also see what the Chapel Dweller has to say about her, after testing out our new move. Maybe we can show this to the doll at some point.
Ah, the hunter. Thank you. So that old man, you told him about this place, right? Well, he don't offer me much in the way of conversation, but still, I'd rather see him alive anyhow. And I sort of hope that my asking you turn out to, help him out in the end. I've never been any use to anyone, you see. Just happy about it, is all. If you find any sane survivors, well, send them along to Erden Chapel, will ya?
Well, that's all nice to hear, but him? Are we missing something, or wait, who's that in the distance?
Ah, you. The swindling off-comer. Did you really think that'd work? There's no fooling me. Now, off with you. You heard me. Go away. I can't stand the stench of your lying breath. I'll spare you one nugget of advice. Beware the blind man. There the beggar sits at the bottom of the bloody food chain, and then he's here acting like he owns the place. He's not to be trusted. What's he want with all those people anyway? That little weasel has a murky past, I'm telling you. Give it a rest, please. I've no time for your petty lies. And what? Just go away now. I can't stand the stench of your lying breath.
Yeah, this guy is so distrustful that he'll go to the opposite place that you send him to. Speaking of which, let's see what would have happened had we sent all these people to Yosefka's.
You're all right. Very good. She's safe with me now. I presume you're to thank? The treatment is going well. Stabilized, for the most part. Fascinating, really. Here you are, as promised. Oh, thank goodness you came. Be a dear. Find me some more.
Sending people to Yosefka nets us gifts from her. Usually numbing mists, though in the case of Gascoigne's daughter, it gets us some lead elixirs. It also gives a few points of insight. After you've sent 4 people, she gets some additional dialogue.
You're safe. What a relief. He's safe with me now. I'm thrilled to have another. Here you are, as promised. What would I ever do without you? You're really making a difference.
It should be obvious why you want to send people to the Grand Cathedral, rather than to Yosefka's. It does seem rather odd though. She seemed like such a nice lady at the beginning of the game. I wonder what happened. But returning to the Cathedral ward, let's continue making progress through here. We need to try and find the Grand Cathedral so we can get the adage for that locked door. Here we get some numbing mist. This is the first time you're likely to encounter this item if you don't bring anyone to Yosefka's. This item, when thrown, prevents enemies from healing. Very few enemies in the game actually heal, making it not terribly useful for PvE, but it can come in handy for PvP where other players can heal with blood vials just like you. But we're gonna put it on our hotbar anyway because it will serve some use in an upcoming fight. We also find another accessory for the messengers. I'm sure it will look adorable on them, like all the other hats. Heading up along this side path here, we encounter the last type of church servant. This one wielding a large scythe, which, no, you can't actually get that weapon for yourself, as unfortunate as that is. They have extremely long range thanks to their long scythes, and they do surprisingly large amounts of damage, but again, like all of the church servants aside from the gun-wielding ones, they are extremely vulnerable to being staggered. A fact that makes this encounter here much easier. Simply stagger and then visceral attack each of these guys and you can just iframe through the attacks of the church giant. And then finish him off once he's by himself. That said, you do have to be careful as fighting in close quarters with a large enemy like this can get tricky. Mainly due to the camera not being ideal for this sort of situation. But again, the power of the Holy Blade comes through. The last enemy here is this gun-wielding church servant. The same one that we fought before, but who's back, thanks to us warping. Thankfully from this side he is very easily taken out. And even rewards us with a few quicksilver bullets. What a nice guy. Heading further on, we encounter the very last type of church servant enemy. This one here is the actual last variant. These ones wield large wooden crosses. The Holy Blade makes quick work of them. But these ones can be especially dangerous if you let them get a hit in, as it not only does an appreciable amount of damage, but it also inflicts the Frenzy status effect. Frenzy will increase your Frenzy meter by a fixed amount over a fixed period of time, before draining back down. If you get hit by enough Frenzy attacks in a short enough period of time, your bar will fill up, and you don't want that to happen. That looks awfully important and like progress, so let's check to the side here first. See if there's anything interesting this way. platforming is not the finest feature in these games. But down here we encounter another hunter enemy, this one nameless. But while he is nameless, he has an interesting setup, actually making use of the wooden shield and wielding a weapon that we haven't seen before. Buddy, you think maybe you can give us your weapon if, say, we kill you? Would you mind that much? I'm sure you wouldn't. At any rate, he's very easy to take down with charge attacks at a distance. Unfortunately, killing him does not net you his weapon, but it does give you a few pieces of bulk paper. So it was not entirely fruitless. Now, the reason why you want to draw him back along the stairs like that is because he has a buddy, and fighting them both at once is a nightmare, to put it simply. Hell, just fighting this hunter here by himself is something of a nightmare, at least in my experience, which is why this is sped up nicely here. Slight spoiler, we don't actually kill him here. The rifle spear hunter is extremely dodgy and very tricky to hit with larger weapons. Meanwhile, he doesn't take much damage from smaller weapons. You can try and cheese him with this tree here, but it's not guaranteed, so we're just gonna run away and ignore him for now. That path isn't critical by any means. We could head to that other side, but that leads to an entire another area, so let's explore this building. This might be the Grand Cathedral that the note mentioned before. It certainly seems imposing enough. Heir to the ritual of blood, purveyor of ministration, place your hand on the altar's sacred covering and inscribe Master Lawrence's adage upon your flesh. In addition to that rather esoteric note, we have some interesting statuary here. Assuming this is a cathedral, one wonders just what are the people here worshipping.
Blood satiates us, soothes our fears. Seek the old blood. But beware, the frailty of men. Their wills are weak, minds young. The foul beasts will dangle nectar and lure the meek into the depths. Remain wary of the frailty of men. Their wills are weak, minds young. Were it not for fear, death would go unlamented. Seek the old blood. Let us pray, let us wish to partake in communion. Let us partake in communion and feast upon the old blood. Our thirst for blood satiates us, soothes our fears. Seek the old blood. But beware, the frailty of men. Their wills are weak, minds young. The foul beasts will dangle nectar and lure the meek into the depths. Remain wary of the frailty of men. Their wills are weak, minds young. Were it not for fear, death would go unlamented. Seek the old blood. Their wills are weak, minds young. Were it not for fear, death.
I think we now know why the Healing Church was anticipating larger beasts, if it has both its clerics and its higher-ranking members transforming into monstrosities such as this. So, say hi to Vicar Amelia, a high-ranking member, a leader of the Healing Church, and something of a brick wall to most players on their first time through the game. She is incredibly aggressive, far more so than any previous boss. She also hits incredibly hard, especially if you have the unfortunate timing to dodge into one of her attacks. Careful maneuvering is key to prevent you from getting stuck along the wall. As a beast, she is quite weak to fire, making fire paper especially effective in this fight. And much like the cleric beast, the right hit at the right time will stagger her, allowing you to go for a visceral attack and really deal a number on her HP. Which is especially important due to her extremely high HP pool. Additionally, much like the cleric beast, she takes locational damage. If you hit her side or back where her coat of fur is the largest, it'll do significantly reduced damage. But if you hit her front, especially one of her hands or her head, it'll do significantly more. In this case, hits to the back do around 80, while hits to her left hand, the one that is clutching that gold medallion she had, do around 260, so the difference is quite significant. Being aggressive in this fight is advised, but it's also important to know when just to back off and let her tantrum for a bit, rather than attempt to dodge through her long attack combos. If you're having trouble with Amelia, consider switching to one of these saw weapons. Their innate 20% damage bonus to beasts comes in real handy here. Buff one of them with fire paper and you can really shell out the DPS against her. Now, when you get her to below a third or so of her health, she gains one extra move that she'll do frequently. And that is healing. If she does this, you have two options. The first is to run forward and attempt to stun her out of her healing animation. This can vary in effectiveness depending on how close she is to being stunned when she goes for the heal. The more effective method is to chuck numbing mists at her. Hit her with one and she'll be prevented from healing for about 30 seconds or so, and if she attempts to heal, she'll be vulnerable for a few seconds, allowing you to get off a strong attack. All in all, Amelia is essentially a bigger, badder version of the cleric beast, with a much more interesting design, being something of a cross between a dog, a reindeer, and a bandage factory. Since the numbing mists wear off so quickly, it's important to remember to reapply them throughout this latter part of the fight. Otherwise, she'll regenerate a significant portion of her HP. And so ends the life of Vicar Amelia. Which is a bit of a shame, since the whole reason we went to the Cathedral ward in the first place was on the advice of Gilbert that someone high up in the church might be able to tell us about this pale blood that we were told to seek, but it seems that's a bit of a dead end. But what's this up here?
Master Willem, I've come to bid you farewell.
Oh, I know. You think now to betray me.
No, but you will never listen. I tell you, I will not forget our adage.
We are born of the blood, made men by the blood, undone by the blood. Our eyes are yet to open.
Fear the old blood. I must take my leave.
By the gods, fear it, Lawrence.